I had said that. What I say? Mm-hmm. I had said that. I had already said that. I don't know which video it was, but not video, but I don't know what sound bite it was. I already made that video. And T.I. and Tiny was arguing with their son over there at that Atlanta Falcons football game. And then he goes on Instagram and he says, if you thought, if you didn't want me, you could have just said that. Or if I was a mistake, you could have just said that. And I can just imagine that at some point they probably told him that, which I feel like that happens a lot. A lot of times where people get into arguments with their children and they say, oh, well, I should have aborted you, or I wish you was never born. And that's not cool. Or you was a mistake, or da-da-da-da. That's not cool, but it's like crazy. There's so many different layers to this, but it's just, first of all, Atlanta is ghetto. Let's start there. Atlanta is very, very ghetto. That is a ghetto old place. The whole state of Georgia is ghetto. It's the only place that voted Democratic, and everybody in our government is Democratic now, but we don't have any Democratic rules or regulations here. Nothing changed about our laws here in the state of Georgia. Don't nobody want to have that conversation either. But nothing's Democratic about Georgia, even though we all voted Democratic. Well, I didn't vote Democratic, but they all did. But if you go to a Democratic city like New York, that is purely based on public assistance and benefits for the people and things like that, because basically Democratic is better known as welfare state, which means we're very big on the charities, homeless shelters, food stamps and benefits and programs that help people that are downtrodden and da da da. That's what democratic cities are about. This is still a Republican city. We just got Democrats sitting in the Senate, but they didn't. This Georgia still, if you don't work, you don't eat. Period. Because they probably do provide you with public assistance, but it's not looking like the public assistance that they provide you in like historically democratic cities. So it's still very much, if you don't work, you don't eat. And if you don't have anywhere to stay, they don't have many homeless shelters down here. And then it seems like everybody moves to Atlanta to go be homeless. Like, it's like you watch that guy, he has that homeless in Atlanta thing on YouTube. It's like people came from all across the country to move to Atlanta to be homeless. Like, why? I don't know if it's because it's warm here and California was all booked up. But everybody moved here to be homeless for whatever reason. But it's like Atlanta's just ghetto. Like, it's just very ghetto, and it's even ghetto for the rich people. It's even ghetto for like them. They started shooting up. Bankhead, not Bankhead, but Buckhead and Lenox Mall and all that, places that were supposed to be nice in Atlanta, getting shot up. You can't even go shop at Saks without having to bring a gun with you. Like, that was supposed to be places that the rich people go, like where you got to have money to go. Not no more. You know what I mean? Like, now that the Atlanta's filled with rappers, it just made the whole thing ghetto, and everybody there think they famous. Everybody there trying to get on. They scamming, selling themselves, stripping, and doing all this and all that, and trying to be a ghetto celebrity. And half the time, a lot of them is living out of U-Haul vans. Believe me, I know. I lived in Atlanta, and that's probably another reason as to why they having all these issues, because even the people that are well-to-do in Atlanta got to worry about ghetto stuff. Like, it's like that dude said, that Keith guy who was doing the restaurant in Atlanta, like, yeah, like the service for food is bad, and the food wasn't even all of that. That's what really took me out. I'm like, that's one thing I say about Columbus. So, like, we got some good eats down here. I'm talking about like the little mom and pop places where you go get like hot wings and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that stuff on slap. Like in Atlanta, that stuff was not slapping like it was supposed to be slapping. I was surprised. I was like, oh, Yeah, hot wings and French fries. That like, I thought the food was definitely gonna be a no brainer, you know. But it was a brainer. Like food wasn't slapping like it was supposed to be slapping. Like for the most part, I was just pretty much eating American deli, American deli, American deli, which is good. American deli slaps. We need to get one in Columbus because American deli's it's good. I thought we had one down here. We don't have one down here, but American deli is good. So if you don't bring anything down here, bring American deli. American deli is good. But all them little other places that was around the way, I kept eating Chinese food because that's what I'm gonna eat regardless. I'm gonna eat some Chinese food. As a New Yorker, I'm gonna eat Chinese food. I'm gonna find a China man. Period. Yeah, I kept eating Chinese food, and then it was like, I don't know, nothing really was that made me want to like write home about it. But yeah, but on top of that, it's like these kids know, like you understand what I'm saying. That's why I always say that I was blessed because I didn't grow up knowing about the programming. Like I didn't know anything. I mean, when I tell you I didn't know anything about any of this stuff until I had to be like 27. I ain't know nothing about no Illuminati. I'm telling you, no cap. I didn't know nothing about no Illuminati. I didn't know nothing about no Freemasonry. I didn't know anything about nothing. When I tell you, I didn't know anything. And it was like, I remember one year, my friend, when I was working, she had left a book full of conspiracies on the desk because I was working front desk and I worked the overnight shift. She left the book there, and I think she wasn't there that night, but she left the book. So sometimes we would leave things behind, etc. And she used to always tell me, like, say little stuff that was like conspiratorial. And that's like, girl, you crazy. God rest her soul. My friend died. God rest my baby. So she used to always leave the book. I mean, she didn't always leave the book. She left the book that night. So I got real bored one day. I was never a conspiracy junkie. I didn't give a damn. I didn't care about what happened in the government. I just did not care. Like I had no interest. I did not care. And I bet as far gone as I am now, it probably looked like I always was this way. I was a regular girl. You know what I mean? Like I had no care, no interest, didn't know what they was talking about. And so, but it was a blessing because ignorance is bliss. I didn't know what was going on, so I couldn't be stressed out about it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what was going on, so I couldn't care. I don't care. I'm gonna care about something I don't know nothing about. I always felt like something was weird, and I always felt like the other shoe was gonna drop, but I didn't know it was gonna be this. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, stuff crazy. I read the whole book one night. I read the book from front to cover, and it was talking about how Madonna died and how that was a conspiracy, and about how JFK might have killed her, and all that. It was so much stuff going on. Like even back to me talking about the last video, drinking a Kool-Aid and something about Jim Jones. And da, da, da. It was just like not Marilyn Manson, but the guy who Charles Manson. It was so many different conspiracies in the book, like from cover to cover. I forgot the name of it, but if you care, you can go get the book. It's called something conspiracies. I can't think about it. And I read that book at 25. I had to be like 25 years old, and I still didn't know what was going on until I was 28. And that was after I had read that book from cover to cover and still was like, okay. And then just went on about my business. But I'm saying all that to say these celebrity kids are in the know. They know about all that stuff. They know what's going on. And they know that their parents are liable to sacrifice them. You know what I'm saying? So they be stressed out. You know what I mean? Like look at the girl, oh gosh, I should go turn my heat off. Nope. I'm still gonna say what I gotta say. Yeah, so yeah, look at the girl, look at T.I.'s daughter. She was literally cutting herself. And I got like a whole history with T.I. The funny thing about it is, but I don't even want to go there on this video because I'll be like going all around the Mayberry bush. But yeah, she was cutting herself. Why is this rich girl cutting herself? Really pretty. Like all T.I. kids outside of King are really cute, but King just looked like, I don't know. He has very strong features. That's all I gotta say. I'm not even gonna talk bad about him, but he has really strong features. And yeah, but she's really pretty. light skin, got money. Why would you be cutting yourself? You know what I mean? What brings you to be the depressed enough to be cutting yourself? These children know that their parents are in that stuff, are dealing with them people, and they could be up for grabs. That can be stressful. You never just out here. It's just knowing too much, and sometimes, like I said, you can just children shouldn't know that much. And that's why I feel sorry for these kids because a lot of the kids that I grew up with, they might have already knew what was going on. They probably could have just been saving face, and I like with me just not having no clue, just didn't know that they knew. But kids, shit, that's too much on children's plate. You know what I mean? Like when you're still trying to develop yourself and still trying to know what's going on in life and still trying to learn how to clean yourself properly, let alone do anything else and just do your chores and keep your head on straight. That's too much going on. Just to know that A, we're trying to kill a whole bunch of other people, and B, somebody might try to come kill us. Like that's too much going on. And that you're gonna see these, like I said, and if you when you do that, and T.I. and Tiny still want to be popping, that's another thing. Like parents have to realize when it's time for them to sit down. Like it's time for your kids to be the main character, and you need to just be like the background singer at this point. Like you have to be that person who's like, okay, I'm gonna let my children shine. Like if you're still trying to be outside, still trying to be cool yourself, still trying to be popping yourself, still trying to live your heydays yourself, still trying to make up for when you was a nerd in high school. That'd be a lot of people problems. Like I don't be having that problem because I was always kind of somewhat popular and always somewhat kind of popping. So I know everybody got all that out of my system. You know what I mean? But some of these people, they were nerdy in school, or they were getting bullied in school, they was getting picked on in school, or they wasn't him in school, they wasn't her in school. So then they became an adult, and now they him, they her, that I like. They trying to be, or they trying to make up for who they wasn't beforehand. And then you got those people that was him in high school, her in high school, and they still trying to be him and her. And it's like, sit your ass down. Like I'm not saying you ancient and you gotta act like a elderly person and sit there and rocking your rocking chair, but still like know how to fall back and let these kids have their time. Like it's not your time anymore. So all these old rappers who still trying to be like, sit down, let these kids do that, sit down and help your kids do things. Like yeah, and you realize that like when Caucasian people have money and they have businesses, they put their kids on. You know what I mean? They kids don't have to worry about. Their kids already know what they're gonna do. Black people, we really let our children fend for themselves. Like we real big on, oh, you 18, you grown, you on your own. You don't see these rappers really making sure their kids are all the way on. Like they should be able to just with the amount of money they got, they should be able to make sure their kids is just like solidified in the business where they have something to do and they have a place when they become an adult. But they don't have that kind of clout and they ain't got that kind of pull. Because just because you got money don't mean you have power, as we can see. But yeah, these kids be knowing their parents could sack them at any moment. And they can tell when their parents start moving towards them real funny and they start kind of just acting shady towards them, they start getting nervous. And I think that's probably why he acting like that. And he's starting to take it out on them. Because that's what I told you. If you don't raise your children right, and if you let them rip and run, and you think all that stuff is cute, all them cursing and being loud and cursing other people out and mistreating other people, eventually that energy is going to be pointed at you in some type of way, some type of space and time. So if you don't raise them babies right, they will come back to eat you. The babies will eat you. Eventually, you're going to have to be an elderly person. You're going to need somebody to clean your butt and make sure you don't go to a nursing home. You're not going to be young forever. If you don't treat them right, they gonna make sure you know about it. So that's all I have to say about that.